are quite good. Attack warning.
Is it for real?
Attack warning. It's for bloody real.
Live from Colorado Springs, the Drop Culture Podcast.
Want to confirm, is this an exercise? Roger, copy. This is not an exercise.
Come on, quick, get down! 1, 2, 3!
Welcome, everybody, to the Drop Culture Podcast. This is that podcast where we pick up that piece of pop culture you forgot about or missed, shine it up real nice, and cram it in your ear holes. I'm Dan.
I'm Brock.
And this week we are bringing you Captain America.
From Reb Brown
Oh,
all the way to Chris Evans.
there you go.
Mm-hmm. The Human Torch.
And we will touch a little bit on the serial that started it all, but we're not going to get too far into that because that's a different show coming down the road, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we're back. Let's talk about it, man.
We did
so
the
this is a
Hulk.
Captain America Christmas. We had a Smash Giving with the Hulk.
Yes. And that was a very, very good journey to go down.
Absolutely.
Of films made for TV.
Yes, it was.
It was pretty fucking cool, you know, because there's
And
so
we had
many.
the other Hulk movies as well.
Yeah. There, Bill Bixby still great fucking David Banner.
He's the only David Banner.
He's the only David. The rest of them are Bruce. Bruce David. Same way with Captain America. Captain America is a literal spawn of the Hulk TV series. You know, I think they were supposed to do something to get together.
So
on
yeah,
that part.
they had kind of tried out there. So if we're starting with Reb Brown,
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. They had tried they had, what was the Hammond guy? I think that was his name that did the Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
And then they had, of course, the Hulk, which was where they had most of their success. They had 5 seasons with that.
Yeah.
And then so they were like, hey, Captain America.
What was
And they had the 78 Strange. That
Yes.
never,
What was really cool about these is they were really trying to develop this whole kind of media they were
Before-
using. Yeah.
Well, I mean, DC had already had some success, right?
Shazam.
Shazam,
Wonder Woman.
Batman, Wonder
Wonder Woman. Yeah.
Superman movie, even at that time.
It's Superman movie. What came out in 1979
Yeah, I believe so.
or 78?
78 to 79.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's amazing to think that we went through those 10 years with Marvel building their shit up, making us cry at the very end of it. But it was all there before. You know what I mean? So
True.
it's even
Was
more.
it done as well? No.
No. But if you think about it, our whole lives, we have lived with comic book movies.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, and
or in
it's-
some sort of media, too.
Yeah. I mean, and then when X-Men came back, you know, X-Men opened the door for this realism.
I would say Blade, even before that
Blade?
opened the door,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, it
Kicked
kind
the
of
door open for X-Men and Spider-Man.
Yeah, having Blade there was like, hey, you could do an R-rated movie and people know that it's Blade, but nobody really knows who Blade is.
Right.
You know, fucking tremendous, badass, right? That was a dollar bin comic for a long time.
Yeah, right.
And then all of a sudden it's like, that's a $50,000 book.
50,000.
No, I know. But but yeah, they were creating this made for TV universe, which they had all the right players in it. I think as far as like bad guys that they introduced in all the different ones, the good guys that they would have the crossovers with, you know, Daredevil, fucking Thor, Spider-Man. I think I've watched a little bit of the Spider-Man show, but not much.
Yeah.
That would be something fun to dive into.
There you
Spider-Man. Watch him take on the samurai warriors. But we're not talking about Spider-Man. We're talking about Captain America.
Yeah, so let's hit up where he first started. That was the first Marvel, and I guess at the time it would have been timely, before Marvel became a thing. But that was the first Marvel character to ever be in cinema.
Yeah.
1944. It was a 15-part cereal.
That's so cool.
Exactly, right?
It's so cool because Captain America, Superman, and Batman have got to be the probably top 3 Golden Age heroes that were out as far as being introduced at the right time.
Sure.
Because with Timely Comics, their biggest deal was Captain America. It was
for sure.
Punching fucking Hitler in the face. You know what I mean?
Because isn't that where we also got? Did we get Namor from Timely? Because wasn't he still part of the All Squad?
Maybe.
All-Star, whatever.
Yeah.
Invaders and all that.
Yeah, it was something like that. When the Human Torch.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
the old school Human Torch.
Well, the reason.
Jim Hammond.
Yeah, well, they had Namor. Yeah, and then whenever the Human Torch burned his hair off and was like, "Hey, it's you. You're a bum."
But I don't remember how far back that was in Timely, because some of that was also retcon later kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Well, and the Human Torch was he was in the very first Marvel Tales or whatnot. The very first comic book that had Marvel on it. Okay. It's got the Human Torch. I'm pretty sure that's it, and I could be wrong. But that's one of the most expensive comic books. Okay. I think, besides Superman, the first one of that and the first Batman and shit like that. Sure. So, yeah, we had a lot of characters in the 40s that were patriotic and, detectives. But
Captain nothing like different. Captain America, because Captain America, especially in the 40s, remember, this is 1944. He's a Nazi puncher at that point, before the serial comes out, right? Because the serial's not really about Nazis. We'll get into that another time. But I think they said it was like 40-something years later before they would ever have another Marvel character on anything, or like a cinematic release.
Yeah, that makes sense, I mean, comic books were always looked down upon, of course, and I know we've talked about that before. But with the serials, you could actually, back in the day, you'd go to the movie theaters and you could pay one price and sit through the movie like 80 times. Right. And watch the reels that came on, and then the serials and the cartoons and everything like that before the movies. And you had Flash Gordon, you had fucking the Batman, all kinds of shit. Yeah, Shazam. Just a whole bunch of cool shit that's still been there.
I wish that this is what I want somebody to do a cut of. Just throwing it out there for anybody listening. If you want to do a cut of this, I want somebody to take Gomer Pyle and cut it in with Shazam. So when he goes, Shazam! Suddenly he's Captain Marvel.
Just use his voice for it.
Yeah. Well, no, I want him to be walking along and talking to the guy.
Shazam! And it's him.
Yeah. And then that sergeant guy's like, what the fuck?
Boy, Jim Nabors has got a great voice. Can you believe that came out of Gomer Pyle?
So that's where it all started.
Yes. And then you have your 70s comic book adaptations. And this one was in 79 because the Hulk started in 77?
I didn't know this was going to be
I don't know. It's not a quiz. But it was
like, all right. I'm really focused on Captain America. Hold on.
but I think I'm pretty sure like Spider-Man was around the same time, 77.
Yeah, right around there.
Yeah, mid to late 70s, And then we get this ex
78.
78?
Yeah.
Ex-college football star Reb Brown.
Yeah. Reb Brown would have been known to be the starting running back for the University of Southern California. However, he was usurped by one the Juice, O.J. Simpson.
The use is loose.
And O.J. ain't afraid to cut a white person.
Nope. No. And didn't O.J. win the Heisman? Right? He was a Heisman Trophy winner.
Oh, yeah.
Think about if Reb Brown would have actually got that starting spot. Nicole.
He would not have been O.J. Simpson.
Reb Brown lost to O.J. Simpson, which O.J. Simpson killed Nicole Brown. Whoa, the plot thickens.
Now I got to find out if they're related.
Oh, that'd be nuts. So he got Reb Brown, and Reb Brown was he was in the fucking Monster Hunter or some shit. A lot of B movies at that point, but he was the All-American, just beefcake at that point. You know what I mean? He was a total blonde hair, blue eyed geek, traveling the country because he just got let go out of the Marines. You know, he probably did like 5 years or some shit. He didn't do career because he was just cruising up and down Highway 1.
On that 101, son.
Yeah, on the 101.
Let's go.
Which great idea at that point too. Captain America was traveling the country anyway in the comic books. He had his own motorcycle. He had the Cap hotline that people could call, and he'd be there, you know, in 5 days because he didn't fly.
No, just took his shaggin' wagon.
Yeah. He had his stabbing cabin on wheels.
That's right.
But and what's crazy about this one is they do retcon everything, and they did it in all the other ones as well. But in this,
they really do it in this one.
Yeah, it was Steve Rogers. Again, he was a Marine, and his father, it was a 1940s government agent, Captain America.
That they called Captain America?
Mm-hmm, yeah. And then his dad gets murdered, so it's like he's like, cool, I'm going to the Marines and shit. I don't know anything about my dad or his past or my mom or nothing.
And what's really different about this, though, is that Captain America was working on the serum himself.
Yes.
His father, Reb Brown's father.
And
Steve Rogers' father, let's call him that.
Right. So it wasn't Dr. Erskine.
No.
And it wasn't no mad experiment with this one. It was almost, and it wasn't even like the Hulk where he was experimenting on himself. This was to save his life.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I mean, he falls for the old road closed, you know. And
take that detour up the mountain.
Yeah. Wait a minute, there's oil on the road. Slow down, you know.
No, let's talk about that real quick, because even before there's oil on the road, I'm like, driving a little faster, guy. Why don't you slow down there, amigo? I'm like, man, that guy is trucking through the mountains.
No,
come on.
I know. In that
van?
conversion,
on.
man, come on. Well, and then he ends up, because even after that one, he pops out with his motorcycle, and then he still goes somewhere, right? Because the dude calls him.
Yeah, no, he's fine after he wrecks the van.
Yeah, and then he comes out and he's like, oh, you know what? Come to think about it, somebody ran me off the road the other day.
Yeah.
What? Wait a minute. I think that would have been a way bigger deal, you know?
You would think.
Maybe
this isn't a coincidence.
Yeah, I almost fucking died.
What? So yeah, he wrecks his bike, and then the bike explodes.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
because it has like, you know, a gallon of gas in it. It's going to explode.
Yeah, it's going to explode, especially like that. So yeah, when he's in the hospital, the guy who's been trying to get him to get on board with his dad's experiment anyways just shoots him up with it.
Yeah, because he's
going to die anyways.
So
that's what I
unethical.
never understood. When he was like, I could die anytime because you gave me this. You would have died then had I not.
Right.
Shut the hell up.
Yeah, no, I saved your life, dude.
Yeah.
Which
you ungrateful captain fuck.
and then I guess we do have to explain a little bit of who Captain America was in this one. He was the Marine, but he was an artist too, because Captain America was an artist for a little while. Steve Rogers, the comic book Marvel one.
Yeah, so he had just got out of the Marines. And then he thought he was, he got his shaggin' wagon. He's going to head up and down the coast.
Go to Santa Monica.
Take some, do some commercial art of some sort or some sort of art.
That, or he's going to do caricatures on the beach.
Yeah, something. Something. He's going to live the dream and just pick up his mail at his surfer buddy's house.
Yeah, right? It's been there for years.
Yeah.
It's like, let me can I use your phone?
He is pretty chill.
He is really chill.
It's like my friend's going through some heavy stuff right now.
Don't worry, I just had a gummy.
You asked for it. I'm there, man.
So basically it leads him on this journey to where he takes the experimental serum called Flag.
Yeah.
Which shoehorning that kind of patriotism into the shit that they're shooting into his body.
And what does Flag stand for?
Full latent ability gain.
Boom.
Imagine that whiteboard. they're like, so we got to change it from this. We cannot use.
So what I've got right now is full ability gain. Yeah. Does that sound good?
What would go?
I mean, we'll just call it fag. It'll be great.
What would go? They're like,
Wait a minute.
More cocaine.
Wait a minute.
Yes, more cocaine, and we'll
figure
get
this
something.
out. Let's workshop this a little
You
bit.
know what it is? This was a latent image in my mind. Oh my God.
And it's a flag? Oh my God.
Damn.
You
No
know-
boo. So yeah, basically Reb Brown doesn't look like he's hurt at all in the bed.
No.
But yet I guess he's dying, internal injuries.
Right.
So he shoots him up with it, and of course he
Well, because he lost so much blood. That's what they mentioned.
Right.
Lost half his blood or something.
Yeah. And then, you know,
As you do.
well, they had been working on this serum forever after his dad died.
But it only worked. But the reason it worked with his dad was because of his genes.
Yes, it was
And
all about
all
him.
the rats and all those other things kept dying.
Yep.
So, like, yeah, I guess you were taking a chance he was going to die from it. But again, he was going to die anyways.
Right.
Quit being a bitch.
Let me pass this to my son.
I'm going to be mad about it.
Well, and the doctor saw his unethical doorway. He's like, it's highly unethical, but his dad was the original one. just put it in there. And guess what?
And he tells her, go get it.
Yeah, go get that shit.
Because she's like, bottle.
And then she falls in love.
Yes, she does.
Dun, dun,
I was kind of
dun.
I didn't know which way we were going to go with the love interest. If it was going to be the girl coming home from college, her dad died, the scientist that was his friend, or if it was going to be the scientist lady at first. And then I was like, oh, because he calls her a kid, and I'm like, oh, okay, Reb Brown.
Yeah, he's only 24.
Yeah. She's like at 21.
You're like, watch out there, kiddo. Whoa.
Well, he's smart. He goes for the scientist. She's already making bank. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, come on. All he's got to do is drive around in
He
his
already
van.
lost his football gig.
Yeah. You want to take a ride in my stabbing cabin?
Spent the last few years saying yes and no, ma'am, sir.
Yeah. He
Felt pretty good in here.
Now, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it on my own.
My own terms.
So, of course, he gets outfitted. You know what I mean?
They take him to that RV, dude. They fixed his van after it dropped off the side of a mountain.
Yeah, somebody went and picked it up.
Well, they got it from the towing company. They said that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, we went got your car from Impound, man.
Yeah, and then, but now it's like all electronical.
Yeah.
Like it's all like mass crusaders working overtime fighting crime.
Yeah, and there's a motorcycle hidden in there which would not fit.
It makes no sense, but it's okay because it's got a rocket boost to get you out.
Yeah, and you better duck.
Yeah,
Because you ain't fucking making it out of there with your...
No.
Even on that one off chance, you're
But
like,
you've got the shield
did I
up.
forget? Pata!
so that's what we should talk about. He'd been fine because he could just duck behind the shield. It's also his windshield and the shield that he uses as Captain America.
Yes.
That's made out of plastic. Obviously looks like some concave frisbee.
Oh, man.
And with like just painted like the circle and star on it.
It's clear so you can see the sky through it.
Yeah, as you should. And when he throws it, it is unimpressive.
No. Yeah. It is the worst freaking effect that I could really think of. It's like it's quiet too. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I could see that it might be a little quiet, but I would also think that in order, first of all, for me to throw it past you and then have it come just right back to me, there is no amount of physics that makes sense with that on a circular device.
Right.
Or a circular...
It's not ricocheting off of anything.
Right. This isn't a fucking boomerang.
Have you ever tried to throw a boomerang?
I have.
It's bullshit.
No, they do work. You just have to throw them
if
right.
you do it right.
Yeah, but this is not.
Yeah.
This is a circle. And it's almost like the lid on like a cake pan or something.
Oh,
but
shit,
it's
yeah.
plastic.
Yes.
And you could tell when it hits things that it's plastic.
Yeah, because it bends.
It bends a little and then just falls to the ground.
And it shakes a little bit too
Yeah,
whenever
yeah,
he's driving
absolutely.
it. Yeah, I mean, it's a weaker windshield than what's on fucking motorcycles anyway.
But he takes a long ride on that motorcycle
Good Lord, he does.
for a while.
It was like a trek, you know? I mean,
And let me tell you one of the things that really kept me engaged in this movie, and that's the sweet soundtrack.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Yes.
Like every time, like then he's riding his motorcycle and they're playing, it's like 70s like folk
Pew.
music or something.
Pew.
Yeah.
Pew. Ba-da-bam-bam-bam-bam. Pew. 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 I mean, and again, you're a kid and you see Captain America on the fucking screen. You're like, oh my God, he's real, and he's got the motorcycle helmet, which his whole Captain America outfit was his design.
Right.
So they give him
He drew earlier in the movie.
Yeah, he's like, there's some input on the deal. Because even at one point too, when he's like staking out someplace, he's like drawing caricatures in the park across the street.
Yeah,
like totally out of place. They're like, "Hey, white dude, what you doing uptown?"
Is that in this one or is that in 2?
Oh, I don't know. It might
I
be
think
2.
that might be
yeah.
2.
But still, it's the same movie.
Yeah.
You could really put these together.
Just too soon. Not soon enough.
See, this one you didn't have the cool opening, right? That would show all the characters, right?
Right.
And then Death Too Soon did. But this one really kind of is. It ends on a boring note.
Yeah, it really does.
You're like, oh, great. Is there going to be another one?
That happened. That certainly happened.
But then, how could Christopher Lee, in your sequel, not be cool? Oh, yeah, let's fucking name him Miguel.
Dude, I don't know that was Christopher Lee's fault by any means, but that was not a great performance.
No.
And he's the main bad guy in number 2, by the way.
Yeah.
Is there Miguel tieback for the next Captain America movie too?
Yeah.
Out there.
Well, yeah. because at the end of this one, he's like, you know what? I can do this, but I need to do it on my own terms. And I want to look like my father did. And then he's got the traditional Captain America spandex outfit.
Yeah.
Which is way better than what he drew.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I don't know what he was thinking. And somebody told him he could make clothes.
He's you like turtlenecks? Because I do.
So that was the one thing, like in the first one, dude, when they come and get him, right? Because he's got the girls. They've got the girls, right? Mm-hmm. That's the whole deal. They got both girls. They got the daughter home from college. They got the scientist girl that he's already been making out with on the beach. The one guy seemed very salty about that, who's like his friend / boss.
Yes.
They come and get him. And he's like topless, like looking like
he's an Adonis.
Yeah.
McPeck.
Yes. But
Reb Brown Adonis.
Yes. But when they gave him enough time to throw on a turtleneck, a sweater vest, like all these things, I was like, what?
Wow.
Is that how they do it? I thought if they grabbed you, like, here's a front shirt, throw it on.
Yeah.
Not like, can you go ahead and put on some dress pants?
Yeah.
And we're gonna need a turtleneck and let's finish it off with a sweater vest.
Let's just go to JCPenney real quick. I'll get you a whole set of outfits, all from the JCPenney catalog from 1978.
Beautiful.
Lots of browns, khakis. You don't need that bright blue. I mean, really, it's not. Captain America 1979 is not tremendously. How do you say
good?
Yes, memorable. Like there's nothing in there that's a standout except for all of the problems. That's really it. You look at it and you're like, there's fucking problems.
Well, Reb Brown, not a great actor. Come to find out,
this very first one,
well, for sure,
not at all.
First one,
yeah, not at all.
He was a little more comfortable in the second one. You could tell.
Yeah, and he had
already been acting though. He'd already had a couple films under him, I think.
Yeah, with all of the other actors too, it was kind of cardboardish.
Yeah,
almost. It really didn't have a lot of I don't know. Like there was not a lot of credence except for I guess the doctor that was the one that like.
The main dude, the good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me tell you, I made a couple notes here. And by a couple of notes, I made 2 pages just on this movie alone. So first of all, I thought it very funny that the bad guys were the Andreas Oil Company, which is AOC.
Oh,
I don't know how that plays in, but there's something.
That's crazy.
I just found that kind of hilarious. But there's like, there's a scene where he's showing him the RV, right? Or the van. And he said, "Does this scrambled eggs on Sunday too?" And the guy, flat, deadpan, says, "And whistle Dixie." And I'm like, people actually wrote those lines. What the hell, dude?
Don Ingalls did. That's who the writer was.
That was slightly before they brought a helicopter to a motorcycle fight. Apparently, they hadn't seen Mission Impossible 2.
Right.
John Woo.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, and the motorcycle was pretty badass, and it was going over those sweet jumps, you know?
The sweet jumps would make complete sense, right?
Why? Is this a motorcycle training area for military motorcycles?
All him specifically, he gives a fuck about that motorcycle, dude, because he jumps that thing, gets on the helicopter, just lets that motorcycle fall to nothing.
It's indestructible.
Oh, okay.
It's gotta be.
Makes
right?
sense. Makes sense.
So,
Okay.
oh man, I bent my rim. Where's he gonna keep those at on the top?
They'll just drop down out of the top. Makes no sense where they come from.
Whoa.
It's like an interdimensional space inside there.
We use it as the air conditioner /
Tire.
tire.
If we make it spin fast enough, it makes one.
When I go faster, it forces in air in here and takes out the smoke from my little grill. Now I'm going to lay down on my beanbag and watch a TV that doesn't fit in the seat.
I could not find an answer whether Nicole Brown and Reb Brown are related or not.
Because that was so crazy.
That's the mystery right now. I'm putting that on our conspiracy corner.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah. I could.
I'm going to title it O.J. Simpson Hates Brown People.
And then disclaimer: everyone with a brown name.
That's racist. Anyways, so
that was the end of
Reb
that
Brown.
movie. He was Captain America officially.
Yep.
At that point,
Twice.
Yes, and then whenever he came back for Death Too Soon,
Soon enough.
yeah, he was part of the good guys at this point. So he's using flag in this fucking.
It sounds like he's shooting it up. He's using flag.
Yeah, he's using flag, right?
He's in the bathroom.
So yeah, he's like, don't worry, I'll be out in a second. I gotta shoot
like Mickey
flag.
Rourke in.
I gotta shoot this flag, man. It's like Latimer. There you go.
Perfect.
Back around.
Bringing it back around.
Well, and then then you have. I don't even understand the Death Too Soon. It was okay, so Christopher Lee is the bad guy. He is Miguel, right? Only one name. You don't really see him at first for a little while, and so he's the henchman, right? And those dudes are fucking stupid. Like, they can't shoot their way out of a paper bag.
Right.
Or catch Captain America.
Or
you know what I mean?
things,
Yeah, anything, right?
Yeah.
And then, and so they're like thugs with an old people drug.
Yeah, they're gonna make everybody be old.
Yeah, and
they've got a bomb that's gonna make everybody be old.
Yeah, it's gonna shoot. It's like Cobra Law almost.
Yeah,
Instead of turning them old or turning them into insects, he turns them old, right?
Yeah, that's the idea, which works out real well because
Yeah.
He's already having like interactions with old people,
big
earlier,
time, yeah.
So,
because she's like, hey, there's a whole bunch of muggers around here. She steals my Social Security check. God damn, that's old school shit, because she was literally going down to the corner store with her check like everybody used to back in the day.
Yeah,
you would go to the corner store and get your check cashed, either company store or the Safeway. See, that's where you got them done. I think that's one of the places that I've cashed a check before.
Sure.
At a grocery store.
Sure.
Which is kind of fucking crazy. Now there's check cashing places. Well, that one dude like follows her and shit like that.
Yeah.
And then he busts out on his motorcycle and kicks the shit out of all of them, right?
Yep.
And they're like, "Oh man, you're a douche," and he's like, "No, I'm not.
No.
Watch this shield go over your head." And then it comes back. But yeah, what is a freelance terrorist? You know,
It's just a terrorist that just does it on his own. He's a rogue agent.
he's freelance.
Yeah,
he doesn't
it's
work
just-
with the government.
No, he's
Fuck
just
that
like
shit.
I like to terrorize. That's what my passion, man.
Yes. And there's only one Captain America out there to stop Miguel, and he does.
Yeah.
Well, they go to like the water treatment plant
Yeah.
at one point.
Maybe that's what they're doing is they're putting it in the water.
Oh no, it was a prison.
Yeah,
it was a great idea
prison. Yeah,
because
yeah.
it was basically like, how are they going to find me if I'm in a prison already? You're like, oh,
Yeah.
well, that's a fucking great idea.
Yeah.
This is like one of the only good ideas out of the whole
This
film.
is a better idea than this movie was.
Well, this one did have the big opening to where it was like, hey,
And they
this could be a
recast the
show.
girl, right?
I think so.
I think she was the same girl.
I don't
It
even
was
remember.
Connie Selica.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember that.
Dr. Wendy. Oh,
Windy Day. What a great name.
that's a good one. Wendy Day. She's like, I love you, but I don't really love you.
I
But-
don't know what I love.
So the whole time I'm thinking they're going to turn Miguel into the fucking Red Skull because it's a chemical, right?
Right.
That's what I'm thinking. But no,
No.
it just ends up in the formula shattering on top of him, and he gets old.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, great, Miguel's old now.
Yeah, there you go. It's over. Great story, guys.
Yeah, way to go. Can you pick us up for one season?
No, sir. Sorry. We're not going to be able to do that. No.
Well, if they would have made it like the Ark of the Covenant scene, that would have been the shit. You know, on
yeah.
Raiders,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And they show them all like, and they all like, or even the one from the aging scene from Last Crusade, right? Where the dude like he dies and his hair grows really long and fucking
Yeah.
everything. You're like, whoa! If they would have done that, I would have been impressed.
Yeah.
But no, it was just like, here's some tissue paper and some gum. Make this work.
That's right.
Because I don't even think combined they had a budget of $300,000.
Oh, I can't imagine.
It was like $150,000 for the first movie. So Christopher Lee probably took about 10 because he was a James Bond villain around this time too.
Sure.
He's a big dude. I mean, and plus he's fucking one of the baddest
But
dudes
he's
that's ever walked the
Christopher
planet.
Lee, yeah.
Christopher Lee was like the inspiration for fucking James Bond and shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And probably fought more sword fights than anybody in history. You know what I mean?
I was trying to figure out where I remembered Connie Selica from.
Windy Day?
Yes. Dr. Windy Day, sir. She was on the show Hotel.
Oh, shit.
Do you remember that? That was like a Dynasty style, Dallas style show back in the 80s.
I might remember. I don't remember it too much.
Yeah, you shouldn't. But that's where I remembered it from.
She was like a bit player on Hardcastle and McCormick. I don't know.
Probably. Who wasn't? She was on Simon and Simon.
If you were on Simon and Simon, that to me puts you in another echelon of actors.
Above Hardcastle and McCormick?
Yep.
Okay.
Slightly below Fall Guy.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That is fair. I'm with that.
The day, the day Christmas died. Lee Majors.
Speaking of Lee Majors, let's get into this 1990 Captain America.
Wow.
What? So we had that. That failed. Nobody picked it up. Nobody liked it.
So it was like 10 years later, somebody got a hold of all the shit.
Well, this was brought to us by Madam what's that?
Manahim
Yeah.
Golan.
Sure.
Manahim
Yeah, I don't know how to say his first name. Golan.
Golan.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Um,
He comes along with $3 million.
and you might remember this guy from the canon movie world universe that we've talked about in the past. You might also remember from like a Masters of the Universe movie we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
So he did that guy decided to make. Captain America.
Yeah, with Albert Pune.
Pew pew.
Directed Cyborg.
That's
one of
right.
our last movies.
That's right. Director of Cyborg.
And then you also
they did the take on Captain America.
you have Ronnie Cox, Ned Beatty.
Ned Beatty, yeah, from
Squeal like a pig, boy.
Yeah, Deliverance. That's
I mean, come
there
on.
are two guys from Deliverance in this.
There's what's crazy is there was a lot of good actors, and even Ronnie Cox. I love all of his movies that he did with like RoboCop and,
Yeah, sure.
and you know Total Recall and shit. Fucking, he's a great actor, and even him, I think he even is quoted as saying, "I don't know how they fucked up that movie. It was such a great script. I know how they did it. You can't throw Matt Salinger, who."
J.D. Salinger's son.
Yeah, who
Catcher in the Rye.
yeah,
What else has Mount Salinger done?
nothing.
No, not much.
I don't think so.
No.
He was on Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah, that was prior to this, though, right? No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
1984.
Yeah, 84, yeah.
If we go all the way to 2021, he was on the Ice Road, and nothing really else. What Dreams May Come.
Okay.
I have to watch that one again just to see him, even though I don't want my.
Because of his acting ability, or because he's so thick?
It's his thickness, which is all.
It's definitely not his cardio.
Well, you know what? Is he wearing prosthetics in this movie?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I didn't think so. I could be wrong.
It looks like it. He doesn't look like he should have those muscles.
I don't know. This is my biggest issue with all of these Captain Americas, is that they all look the same after they become Captain America.
Yeah.
There's no change.
Yeah.
That would have been so easy to do at this time. It's not like really hard.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
the face doesn't matter.
and they even use rubber.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
They could have used chainmail in this in the 90s. They could have really done it up really well. The shield was cool.
The shield looks way more like his shield should than
Yeah.
that plastic piece of trash Reb Brown had.
And there's two things that
No
really
hate on Reb Brown.
yeah, there's two things that detract from his whole outfit, and it's the nose, right?
Sure.
Salinger's nose is not covered.
Right.
It's only halfway covered.
Yes.
Right? So is Reb Brown's no nose cover, right?
No, he mostly just wears a motorcycle helmet.
Yeah, exactly. Right? So that's kind of initially throws you off. You're like,
Sure.
what the fuck is... Huh?
Hold, please. There we go. Bringing it on back.
I can't sneeze sometimes now. It's weird. So
That's one of the things I was going to say. This Captain America looks more like Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
The shield looks better.
the outfit.
And at least they went to the actual Captain America story. Like he was around in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
Not like his dad was working on a serum. I did not like that. I was like, what? Get out of here.
Yeah, I like the whole... But it was California.
Yeah. When this one, he actually gets frozen.
Yeah.
Like the whole deal, right?
Yeah.
After infiltrating, what was it, maybe 10 minutes of him being in like the 40s?
I think so.
And
Yeah.
the worst fight ever. Like, okay, first of all, you got Captain America. And that guy tells him, we're just going to drop you off by yourself.
Yeah. You got to go like
Against
10
the
miles in the
Nazis.
hills. Yeah.
And you got this special, and they even say something about his suit.
It's fireproof.
They only say fireproof, but the special suit, they say that a couple times.
Yeah.
Obviously not bulletproof.
Yeah.
What? What kind of a special suit? Ooh, it's fireproof.
Way to go, dude.
Great. I got a firefighter jacket.
Well, I know they were in a race against time because he was picked.
Yeah. Yeah. He was picked mostly because of his charisma.
Yes, he was picked. Oh, a nice medal.
Thanks, bud.
He was picked out of everybody, and he does have that little slight limp, you know.
He has polio.
Yeah, but he's still 6'4", you know,
yeah.
built like a brick shit house.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
No. So they have that whole little scene where they go into, you know, the back part of the restaurant and shit like that. And then, yeah, he's got the suit on after that, because he gets shot twice, and he's like, I can go. You know, they're like, you're our only hope. No.
Well, then he fights with the Red Skull.
'Cause they
I
get
thought the
word.
Red Skull looked pretty good.
But he's Italian too.
Yeah. Well,
What the fuck is that?
Well, the Italians were part of the Axis. Whatever.
Yeah. But the
I
Red
know.
Skull wasn't.
No, he wasn't.
He was a
wasn't.
German.
And he calls him brother all the time.
Yes. Well, because they are. Because they have the same. Because the original doctor that gave the Red Skull, or gave the formula, ends up defecting to America
Right.
by jumping out a castle.
Mm-hmm.
And walking on the rocks, and
Yeah.
everybody's like, "Fucking, I ain't walking that shit."
I'm not going out there.
Yeah, screw you guys, because he's a child prodigy, right? So he's
Right.
one of the smartest people, I guess, in all of fucking Italy or some shit, right?
Or
And
Germitalia.
yeah, German-Italian. Yes, he's a German-Italian.
Did you say genitalia?
German-Italian. So yeah, so they get into that fight, which I was as a
okay.
kid.
I know you said thought it was the awesomest thing.
It was.
So let me tell you what I thought when I saw that fight. Why didn't they teach Captain America how to fight? Because he just gets his ass whipped.
Yeah, they didn't even give him a book.
No. No, you thought they'd give him a little boxing instruction, something, like take him to the gym.
Yeah. Jab, jab.
Because
uppercut.
isn't that Captain America's thing? Like, he knows all the fighting styles,
Yeah.
and he's been fighting his whole life.
He learned it all before he even went out the first time.
Yeah.
But not in this one.
No.
He's in reverse order. Or
Yeah.
he never learned.
No.
Yeah, he got his ass whooped.
Yeah.
Even the Red Skull jumps off like a 2-story dill right in front of the rocket,
Yeah.
the buzz bomb or whatnot. He jumps off of that fucking thing and lands, and is fucking badass. I mean, he's a mean motherfucker
yeah.
in this. He looks evil. It's fucking totally cool.
But Salinger's Captain America talks him into getting close enough that he can grab his hand.
Yeah. And then he, he
and
didn't
then he
think of
goes
that.
and then he's like, "I'll cut off your hand," and then he just pulls his hand a little bit and cuts his own, his own hand off. So now we got a one-handed Red Skull.
But they never really talk about that throughout the whole.
No,
rest of
never
the movie.
again. Never
No.
again do you see that.
Yeah. Well, and then of course, Ronnie Cox's characters as a kid is in D.C., right? Because the bomb was aimed for the White House, right?
Right.
From Italy,
But that's one thing Captain America does well.
Is
He
kick a
knocks
wing.
that. Yeah, he knocks that off target by kicking one of the.
But he was literally
wings
like,
off.
he was probably like 3 feet off the ground whenever it happened because
100%. Because that kid
yeah.
looked right at him. He was like,
yeah. President
Captain
Kimball,
America.
President Kimball was already there and like had to duck out of the way.
Didn't he
it was
take a
gonna knock him
picture?
out. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's just like a silhouette. You can't even see shit.
I met you before.
Yeah, it's like he's got wings on his head. How can you fucking tell?
You
So-
were, and he even says, "You were the kid."
Yeah, yeah, and then of course,
I remember seeing that kid when I was about to splat all over the place and explode.
and he kicks the wing enough to where it shoots him up into Antarctica.
yeah, as you do.
Yeah, cool. And then he goes home, of course, and he's like, dude, look at this. And it's Ned Beatty's character. He's like, this is pretty disturbing. I don't really know. Hold on, let me push up my glasses. I'm a nerd. You're like, what the fuck, right? So then, of course, cut to their beautiful montage.
Let's talk about cuts.
Oh, the montage of the fucking newspapers and shit.
Oh, not just that. The cuts in this movie, like the combat cuts, like during the fights.
Cyborg was way better. How could
I know.
How could you?
Well, Salinger's no Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh, I mean, Van Damme
he
would
cut that movie for the combat.
Yeah.
Van Damme did.
Yeah. See, shit, should have
Brought him on over.
Yeah.
Hey, bro.
You want to cut this?
He's
with
like,
the
no,
action?
they're paying me millions of dollars to do the splits. That was a poor Van Damme.
Well, of course, he's a man frozen in time.
Frozen in time.
Man out of
It's a
time.
story as old as time.
And of course, he wakes up. Who finds him? I don't even remember.
I don't either.
That's how much. Yeah, it's an Alaskan team of researchers.
Yeah, I knew it was like scientists, right?
Yeah, he's in a block of ice, and
It's
then
because they're standing around singing, "Wake up, Stevie, I think I got something to say to you." And then he cracks out.
Yeah,
No,
it's
wait,
like-
that doesn't happen.
It
That's
splits. Yeah, and then he's like, "Hey, can I have some wine?"
He's like, "All right, let's go, man.
And
We're
then-
going to Burning Man, man."
Yeah. Well, they're all speaking a different language, and
Yeah,
he's like,
yeah.
"What the fuck?" No, you guys are real. You know, he doesn't realize that he's been, you know,
frozen in time.
He missed.
He didn't know he was a man out of time.
Yeah, he missed the Kennedy years. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, they made sure that they showed that on there and disco and stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
As you would.
Studio 54, History America. And so
Just so you know, that's all over because it's 1990.
right. And then, of course, the president is still friends with the nerdy
Ned
dude.
Beatty.
And Ned Beatty's actually part of the Washington Post or some shit like that, right? So he's like, hey, I don't care how you do it. Just, you know, go find him. You know, and he's calling him from the Oval Office. It's almost like a Pixels thing from that movie Pixels, you know?
Yeah. Wow.
Yes. Correlations. So he ends up...
I may have liked this movie better than Pixels.
So like, he hops in a Yugo truck, right? He's driving down the road, and then he miraculously fucking finds Captain America running in the woods, you know, getting attacked by somebody. Yeah. I think people were shooting at him. He's like, oh, hey, you, come here. Getting back.
Get in.
Yeah. And this is where he does the famous bamboozles.
Yes. One of the many. One of the two that are going to happen in this movie.
This is the lamest way in the entire world that you could steal a car. He's sitting in the passenger seat. It's like, I think I feel sick. Can you pull over? No. I
like, what?
Let's keep going. They were right behind us. No, I think I'm going to throw up. And then he's like, haha, I got you. And then fucking runs away.
Well, because he knows he can outrun them.
Yeah.
So when they get out to check on him, he runs, and then he jumps back in the car and kicks off with it. Like heroes do.
Yeah,
like heroes do.
He goes
and
out,
leave the guy out in the middle of the road knowing that these other guys are still chasing you.
Yes.
Like they're not going to stop for him.
He's got like he goes out there like 60 feet and leans over and holds his stomach. And they're like, hey, are you okay? Yoink. Bye. Fucking so stupid.
Yeah.
But he ends up going back home because he's looking for Bernie, right? Yeah. He ends up finding Bernie's granddaughter.
Yes.
Which her name is Bernie too, right?
No, her name was Sharon.
Was it Sharon?
I think so.
Oh, okay, cool.
Well, because he thinks that's her at first, and she's like, "Get off me, creep!"
Yeah, you're a weirdo.
And then the old lady, the old Bernie,
Steve,
and then her husband comes out like he's gonna. And she's like, "Oh, settle down.
Watch out there, Harold.
Know what you're gonna do about it."
Yeah,
that guy.
Yeah, he looks like he runs a machine shop.
Yeah,
that's cool. So they end up going back to the same diner, right? Yeah. He busts through the wall, hits a little.
Is that where he pulls the thing off the wall and then busts through the wall with it?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And then he has to pull the little handle. It's like, and then and she's like, "You're telling the truth." Huh. And somehow he finds out that the Red Skull is still there, right?
Right.
Because
and we see the Red Skull, but he doesn't have Red Skull.
No, it's like plastic surgery.
Yeah.
How the fuck are they going to do that? He looks more like Jigsaw
than
anything. But they still
because that costs less money.
Yeah, what was really cool is they kept the features of the Red Skull underneath the fucking other makeup, right? So you're thinking, oh, okay, it's makeup, but no, he just went through that to get rid of his Red Skull. You know. Yeah. Why? Come on.
Because it costs less to make now.
Well, they already had one.
Well, yeah, but then you got to do it every day. And you got to pay that person to do it. And that guy's got to sit there for 4 hours while you get that on there and you're still paying him.
Yes. You got 4 hours only for makeup.
Right.
Shit.
For the whole movie.
Yeah. What? So Barney waits for him the whole time. He gets there. They go through the whole shit. They find out that she's they need Vasili's diary. That's who the doctor was. It was Dr. Vasili or some shit like that, right? So this is the stupidest thing. Okay, so in all of the Captain America comic books, Dr. Erskine kept everything, all of his notes and everything in his head because he didn't want it to get stolen by the Nazi sympathizers and the saboteurs, right? Mm-hmm. The ones that eventually kill him. Well, with her, she writes it all down in a diary, but tells everybody, no, I keep the formula up here. She gets killed too, just kind of in the normal, die America type deal,
Right.
Almost creating a bomb. And then she leaves her diary in the top drawer.
As you do when
And-
you're trying to hide it.
Yeah, and it's like the military was like, fuck, this base is compromised. Screw it, let's go. Leave all the shit here.
No, leave it all.
Yeah, we'll come back later and get it. If you want this desk when, you're older, come get it. But it's right there, man.
Right.
What the fuck is that? So, of course, the Ronnie Cox the president gets kidnapped.
Yeah, by the Red Skull.
Why didn't he ever think of that before? He could have fucking wiped Kimball off the map at that point, but no. President Kimball has to get fucking taken, right? And in the meantime, fucking isn't Ned Beatty dead?
Oh, yeah.
They start slaughtering everybody because it's Sister Sin, basically. The Red Skull's daughter is killing everybody. She's the one that's chasing after him and was the initial one to find him out in the middle of the woods in Alaska.
And she's like shooting at him. That's where Ned Beatty picked him up, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah. And then, so they're like, oh, okay, well, we need to go back to Italy. That's where he's at. What? I guess it's the same castle, too.
I suppose.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And so, yeah. Well, they somehow they get the tape recording, him and Bernie do, of the very first scene wherever the Red Skull is
Him
getting.
and Bernie do?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
He plays it and she records it on her little bitty tape deck.
Sharon or Bernie?
Sharon.
Okay.
Yeah, same Bernie. Same thing. So she gets eventually captured. They end up at the castle, and he has to don the suit again.
Yeah.
So he comes out, and they do all those really cool close-ups. Not.
This is where he saves the president, right?
Yeah. Well, Kimball's.
Right when he gets there.
Yeah, he's pretty spry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, you can only do it with me, huh? Take this and I'll jump off the side.
Later, dude.
And then he gets his arm pulled out by Captain America.
Yeah.
Guess they never read that Gwen Stacy issue of Spider-Man, but
Not gonna happen. Gonna crack his neck. So then you get to their dramatic climax fight at the very end, where he actually starts fighting because he's been Captain America for 5 days,
yes.
over 40 fucking years. You know what I mean? So he knows better now.
It's the worst.
Yeah, he's had enough time to think about it.
Fight scenes are terrible too, dude.
Yeah,
They're poorly choreographed. Like there's a scene where like all the people are shooting at him. Like there's 3 different people from different angles shooting at him. And the cut scenes within that are insane. And then it goes to something's happening, but it's really dark. And then I'm like, there's some action going on.
what the fuck?
But I can't tell what it is.
Yeah, they like darkened it.
They're like, oh, we don't have enough money for this scene.
This looks like shit. What's the best way to do that? Man, turn the fucking
Make
color
it
down.
dark, dude.
Yeah.
Come on.
They're fighting at night from now on. We could do this. They're like, this is way better than the Reb Brown movie. I can tell you that much. On set, they probably were like, oh, yeah, this is way better.
Can't be worse than that.
Well, the Red Skull's he's gonna do what, a fucking nuclear bomb from the top of his terrace, or he was gonna leave, but then Captain America's there. Of course,
Was it a nuclear bomb or it was a fission bomb.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
whatever the
Right?
fuck it was. I guess.
I don't remember. Maybe it was a nuclear bomb. They're all starting to run together.
Yeah.
Here's a bunch of shitty Captain America movies.
Yeah. Well, then she pushes play, and it's like it's on a loudspeaker, and the dude, and of course the Red Skull's like, "Oh my god, I'm back in my." It's 1941, and then he throws a shield and hits him off the fucking cliff. Ah, done.
So can I tell you my favorite part of this movie? It's when the first fight, because we're done, right?
Well, yeah. Well,
we can finish it out first.
yeah.
but I'll tell you my
I thought you were gonna say that the best part of the movie was the credits.
No. My favorite part is when Captain America first throws his shield at Red Skull, and Red Skull catches it, and he goes, "Oh," makes this really awkward noise, and I'm like,
Gross.
"This is my favorite part right now."
Gross.
He just a little in his pants, maybe.
That's bad.
You know what I'm talking about, though. Like,
Yes.
I feel like I could just cut that piece out and then run it over and over again. It'd be great.
It was
Oh,
Captain America.
I'm Italian.
Italiano. Wow.
Yeah, it's not good, bro.
I think if these people were like, "Hey, man, this might save canon," and then they release this, and they're like, "Fuck, man, we just made that Punisher movie. Fucking shelve that shit."
Yeah,
They did re-show this movie in 2014 at some place and drew a big crowd for it.
really.
Yeah, for real. I don't even think it was a like a director's cut or anything like that. It was just one of those.
I would not watch the director's cut of this. I'm like, you mean there's more?
Oh man, I would love to see the extra shit. You know what I mean?
Would you though?
I would love to, man.
I would love to I guess, just to say I saw it.
Right.
Not because it's going to be like, I can't imagine that. Like, could you? Let's think about this. Let's think of Pune. Secretly has a director's cut that's like the Snyder cut, right?
Ooh.
But it's like 2.5 hours long. There's like a whole nother hour of this movie.
But like it's really good.
Fair.
The cuts really ruin Matt Salinger's performance, and we don't know it.
Yeah, something. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like,
and it's actually the best performance put down for Captain America ever. You're like, whoa, oh my god, my world had just changed.
I had no idea.
I didn't know this was fucking wow. No, not gonna happen.
Nope.
Yeah. There's only a modicum of respect for this movie just because it is a Captain America movie.
Absolutely.
And
don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
A Captain America movie is better than no Captain America movie.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Punisher movies, same way.
Same way.
Same way with Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just, I remember being a kid specifically at this point. I'm like 11, maybe 12 or something when I saw it. And it's just like, man, this is fucking rad. You know, they're finally doing it. Finally get to see this. And this is my favorite character of all time when it comes to comic books is Captain America. That was the first comic book that I bought, you know, at the Safeway from the little rack.
Yeah.
That was the shit.
Well, sometimes your favorite character shows up in an Incredible Hulk movie and he's terrible.
Yes.
And that'd be my favorite character
Yes.
in the same time frame as Reb Brown.
Yes. Yeah. Well, see, well, my dad was like, hey, he told me about it. He was like, you ever read comic books? Or he mentioned it to me. I don't even really remember the impetus for it or anything like that, right? But I remember going to that Safeway and he was like, why don't you try this? You know, and it was a Captain America book.
Nice.
So I read it and was like, man, this is the coolest fucking thing in the world. Comic books rule. And that was my introduction to it. And I remember my dad used to read, he said he read it in the 70s, you know, which I could see that, 60s and 70s, you know, so he was kind of there in that big time era. But the 70s were a weird time for Captain America. And so were the 80s.
Yeah, I was going to say the 80s were as well.
Yeah, then it really took a long time, even though Captain America is one of the longest run for Marvel, I think, besides Hulk and Avengers and things like that.
Yeah.
Just individually, you know.
I don't remember. It was an early issue of Avengers that he came back.
Number 4.
Was it 4?
Avengers number 4.
Yeah.
Because they were looking for Namor, and Namor got pissed and like threw him into the... He's like, fuck you guys.
I'm going back to the water.
Though you're human. Yeah, but it was all of these, seeing the Reb Brown ones on TV too, along with the Incredible Hulk ones and the Spider-Man and shit like that. Fucking cool as shit, right? Yeah. That's all we had.
Yeah, you're right. And that and like the cartoons, that was it. You know, and Captain America didn't have any cartoon. Not in the 80s.
No, not in the 80s. No.
I mean, you had when Captain America threw his mighty shield.
Yeah, where they're just like moving panels.
All those who oppose his
shield must yield.
No, it's all those who oppose his wheel must surely yield. That's the line.
Yeah. Oh, I thought it was all those who.
I could be wrong.
All those who oppose his shield must yield. I don't know.
Will surely
yeah, I used to have those.
Me too. I used to have them in the big VHS packages that you like.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
I had copies on DVD.
Okay.
And I bought them off of eBay back in the day. We're talking like DVD fucking bootlegs of
Okay.
that shit. And I remember I had it in Dallas when I lived there. It was just, I was like, man, this is fucking amazing.
I bought the Iron Man one here in Colorado Springs in like 94, maybe? 94?
That would be a really cool thing for them to put together. Like a whole, just like...
You think they just throw them all on that Disney Plus channel and
Why
call it
not?
a day?
Yeah, why not? They have what they need. They just don't do that.
Just think about a future episode that we're going to talk about the Justice League pilot that they made in 1990, I believe it was.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're going to do that one coming down the road.
We almost need to do the Wonder Woman one that they wanted to do in like 2015.
Yeah.
You know?
We'll get there.
Yeah. But, I mean...
Overall. So wait, we're not done with Captain America.
No, not at all. Then you go all the way to the future.
2011. So 21 years have passed since Salinger,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, because it was 1990 and then 2011.
Yeah.
That's when we got the first Avenger, Captain America, you know, which he did appear in the Incredible Hulk movie with Ed Norton.
Yes.
But in like a side scene. So they were already building that shit up, right? So whenever Captain America...
That was an end credit scene, right? One of the mid credits or something?
Yeah, I think it was at the very beginning or something like that. He was still jumping and shit.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Maybe
those
you're right,
movies kind of tanked, right? And then Blade came out, X-Men. You had that whole X-Men world. You had the fucking Iron Man. You had all of these movies starting to start.
So Iron Man came out in 2008 along with the Incredible Hulk.
Right.
And then we had Thor, I think, after that. And then this one, correct?
I think so, yeah.
I think that's
correct.
Yeah. I'm not looking and I don't care.
Yeah.
But it's an early pre-Avengers movie.
And what they did really cool with this one is they went back to Joe Johnston or whatnot.
Who made The Rocketeer.
One of the greatest comic book movies of all time. Just an awesome fucking movie, you know.
Sure.
And whenever I heard that he was going to direct it and they were coming out with the Captain America movie, I was like, dude, that's fucking perfect. I just remember thinking that. And man, he made a fucking cool movie with Rocketeer.
Yeah.
Because I've always been a fan of the Rocketeer. And they really, with this one, they did it right.
Well, they 100%. They got the story right down to the bones, right? Like everything's good as far as the story goes. You have Bucky finally. And Sebastian Stan, who does such a great job as him and the Winter Soldier later on.
Right. He was good. Well, he was up for Captain America too.
Yeah.
Now, Chris Evans, I think, he was a Human Torch in those two Fantastic Four movies, right?
Yeah.
Rise of the Silver Surfer and things like that, right?
The Jessica Alba series.
Yes, which could have been really good, I think, with a different edit. Both of them,
maybe.
I liked them.
I liked them. I watched them.
Yeah. And then you really get...
I didn't like the way they did Doom.
Yeah. Like, who else at the time would you have put in the Captain America suit? I don't know. I mean, Chris Evans
Didn't Krasinski almost got it?
I think so, yeah. I couldn't see him.
There was someone else that, I was like, okay, I could see why they had him, try out or whatever.
Evans seems like he's a little bit smaller.
Sure.
But he is still 6'2" or something like that. 6 foot.
Sure.
I know he's taller than Robert Downey Jr., but what he brought to the character was exactly what was in the comic book. Captain America always had that sense of doing what was right, no matter if it was against himself or not.
Like even the stuff before he becomes Captain America shows that good heart.
Yes,
they show him where he was getting in the fight with the guy in the alley.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can do this all day.
Yeah, and he grabs the fucking trash can lid, so he's kind of used to that shit.
Yeah, and then obviously in the basic training piece where he jumps on the grenade.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest, where you're like, oh, this guy is self-sacrificing.
Yeah.
Which is what you need out of a Captain America.
Yeah, in Captain America, I really believe is the glue that holds the Marvel Universe together in any form.
Sure.
Every story ends up being
Him
a
and Rick
Captain America
Jones.
story. Yeah, well, I really think every story ends up being a Captain America story in some of the biggest ones, like Earth X. That became a Captain America kind of a story,
Sure.
until he dies. in that one. There's a lot of the really big runs that kind of Captain America's he's the shit.
Yeah.
You know, which always was one of those things. And when Captain America was going to be president, do you remember those?
Sure.
Like they wanted him to be president, and he was like, "No,
Nope."
And then they try, and he was like, I can't be a symbol that's for good and right and be in charge. No, there's just no way. The way that they wrote him was, I mean, that's the perfect fucking American. You know what I mean? And you kind of get that feeling with Chris Evans in a way that he was more like, hey, it's got to be what's right. Because he never could do what was right back in the day.
Yeah, try as he might. You know, I think the parts where they were like having him parading him around and doing the Bond stuff, I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
And made sense, right?
Yeah.
But the fact that like he went in after Red Skull, like he had a team of people. Because that makes sense. You know what I mean? Yeah. And in this movie, you'll notice it too, but not as much until later on movies. The speed at which he fights is what I expect, right? Like, not like Mark Salinger throwing a punch. Reb Brown was better than Mark Salinger when it came to combat, and that is not saying much, but it's at least something.
Yeah.
Go Reb Brown.
Yeah. Well, this one, the speed, you can really gauge how fast things are on the very first scene in Avengers Endgame whenever Thanos is fighting Hulk. And you can see how fast that Thanos moves that. And Captain America, the way that they show Chris Evans moving in that is more like you would.
I would say before that, even like Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
When he's fighting Winter Soldier.
Oh, man, that whole fucking scene is badass, right?
But even that fight and then the fight where he's fighting Iron Man.
Yes.
Like that whole deal. The way that he fights is more believable that he's going to actually be a superhero. You know what I mean?
And in working together with somebody else.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because they did work together in this one, Bucky and him. But when you get to Civil War and they're like throwing the shield together and fucking using the shield to fucking bounce shit off, you know? And like really working on that part of it. Captain America was the glue. He really did hold everything together because one of the greatest Captain America movies of all time is Winter Soldier.
For sure. That's one of my favorite Marvel movies.
Yeah, it's
of all time.
fucking great. Everything that you wanted in a Captain America movie, that's there.
Yep.
Because they, in all of the different series that I've read and that I had, whatever, Captain America always has this ideal of what he thinks America is, and it's like the best part of America. Everybody helping each other. You sacrifice whenever you need to. You stand up for what's right.
Well, that's why he stepped away from being Captain America multiple times.
Yeah, they wanted him to use the costume and the shield as like he was going to be their peacekeeper. He was going to be their deal. And then you have somebody like what's his name? Super Patriot that comes along.
U.S. agent?
Yeah, and then it like fucks everything up, you know? But the one here, whenever he gave that back to the government saying, I'm not the costume.
Right.
I wear the costume and I give the ideals of what should really be there. Take them, you know?
Yeah.
And of course he becomes Nomad, and then he's you know, the captain.
Right.
And then he shoots everything over. But subsequently, we find out even in the later runs of the series, they had been doing the super soldier serum way before him.
Sure.
So they introduce these characters like who is the
Elijah Bradley?
Yes. Which I never got to read those. I want to, and that makes
Red,
sense.
White, and Black.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense that they would have been experimenting on people throughout the whole deal. Well, they even brought in this one dude called Protocide. Fucking worst name.
Oh, I remember you were the one that actually told me about this.
Worst name that you could ever have for a villain. Great idea. Okay, so you know how they were picking somebody that was weak and frail. Well, this dude was fucking like a badass, right? He was already like, he was Sergeant York, you know what I mean? Sure. Times a million, you know? He was very like, roar. But then they had to put him on ice. And then Steve came in like the next fucking day and they did his shit.
And who were so while he was frozen in the comics, there were also
the 1950s.
That guy and a Bucky, and they both went crazy because it wasn't the real version of
Correct.
the super soldier serum.
And then he became like the Phoenix or something like that. Like, I mean, he fought
what was
him.
his name?
Oh, fucking, I forgot.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, the 50s Captain America was because he showed up in like a Human Torch comic in the 50s.
Yeah,
so they had to retcon that in there, saying, okay, this is the 50s Cap. You know,
right.
Which I think he was like a fucking teacher and shit like that or something.
I somehow thought that the Nomad character, not Captain America, Nomad, but the other Nomad was somehow tied to the 50s Cap or Bucky or something.
I think so. Yes. Yeah. Oh my God, he's like fucking. This one really does bring you
Jack Monroe or whatever.
Yeah.
That was the Nomad, but I think that somehow he was tied to the 50s Batman.
Or 50s Cap.
Or Batman, whichever.
Yeah.
Maybe not, though. I don't remember.
Well, I know eventually what happens too in the late 80s, early 90s is the Red Skull, who you think is dead for the 8th time, you know, actually clones Steve Rogers' body and injects him fucking his everything inside there.
Sure.
So he basically is Captain America, but the Red Skull, and then he eventually gets the red death spray on him, and it turns his face fucking red again. You know,
is
he's
that
like,
when he goes for president? 'Cause that happens at one point.
Yeah, I think he was like going to be like a congressman or something. I don't know. It was something like that. Some bullshit.
Some kind of bullshit.
Some kind of bullshit.
So, but we should talk probably about the last Captain America.
Yes.
And that is Anthony Mackie.
Mm-hmm.
In our
Falcon
Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Who is now going to be Captain America in Captain America 4. As he was at the end of that movie or TV show.
And the TV show is awesome. Anthony Mackie does a good job in reading the Falcon. The Falcon was basically like plucked from the streets of Harlem anyway with the Cosmic Cube.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
The Cosmic Cube invented him, you know? I mean, and he still comes out a major character, you know? And he's down for like 110th Street and shit, you know what I mean? Yep. And even in this, I mean, he was fucking badass, you know what I mean? The Faux Rogers and Jack Monroe. Yeah. 1950s Captain America. Yeah, he was a PhD, William Burnside. But then there'd been so many other ones, you know, and they even fought the 50s Cap. Oh God, so many different times, right? What did he become? I know he was, he doesn't become Flag Smasher. Maybe. Something like that. Chris Evans, though, I will have to say, fucking killed it in this role. He is Captain America from now on because as soon as he picked up that goddamn Thor's hammer, you're like, holy shit. Damn. Of course, Captain America Civil War should not be called Captain America Civil War. It should just be Civil War. Yeah, should leave it that way. This should be Captain America 3 coming up, you know? I mean, Thor's had 5 fucking movies, right? I think. But Chris Evans is gone now, you know? Yeah. And we get Anthony Mackie, which he is going to be... He is human, but he's having to do what Captain America did. So does that make him, like... anything less than without the super soldier serum? You know what I mean?
It's just different. Right?
Yeah. In which it's gone from the drug to fucking just, you know, everything. Yeah. You know, he's fucking the Falcon.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's like an amalgamation of the two, right?
Yeah.
To some degree.
Still has the wings. He uses the shield.
And I mean, there's precedence in the comics. He was, I think we may have talked about this back in the day on this show. In the comics, it was almost the same amount of time that Falcon was Captain America and Bucky was Captain America.
Yeah.
So they were both Captain America at one time or another.
Right.
And I think initially, like my thoughts before watching Endgame, of course, was I wanted to see Bucky Barnes as Captain America because I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I think it was Brubaker that came up with the whole Winter Soldier thing.
Brubaker bringing that back on this character revolutionized who Captain America was because
100%. That's what. Yeah, I was going to say how impactful that was.
Every year in the Captain America continuity, he would always reference losing Bucky. So for the first 2 or 3 years of the comic book, even whenever it was Captain America and Iron Man, Tales of Suspense or whatnot, it was all about him just being so grief stricken that Bucky, he got him killed, and it was always that story the whole way through, and then. That's what defined the Captain America character in the early Stan Lee days, I think. And him finding where he was at, Nick Fury, different things like that, right? And then you get to the 70s where you have, the Falcon. You get to the 80s, he's by himself again. The 90s, that's when, the late 90s, they bring in Bucky, and you're like, holy shit, that's fucking real?
Wasn't the early 90s or late 80s also when he had Nomad as a buddy?
Yeah. He also used a dude called D-Man.
Yeah, I remember
which a wrestler.
He looked like Wolverine,
yes.
but thick.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a pro wrestler.
Demolition Man, right?
Yeah, and then and who else? God, there was Paladin. Yep. He was in love with Diamondback. Yep. Which Diamondback was always.
She shared a comic with him for a while, right?
Yeah, she was a badass in that. We've never seen her in anything. The Serpent Society, Sister Sin was always really big. So there's a world that any of these Captain Americas could have really pulled from, but they decided in the early versions, let's not use anything.
We're not going to do that.
Let's just use the name. I can make it better,
right?
Well, and then it all culminates in that Avengers Assemble. You're like, no.
Everybody's going to cry. I'm going to cry. You going to cry. We all going to cry. I'm interested to see where Mackie takes Captain America now. I'm very interested to see that.
Well, we're in a period of this the cancel culture. We're in the period of all of this stuff that's anti-American in a way. When you have a character that should embody the ideals, his name is fucking America. You know what I mean? And literally that's going to be something that's really cool. For him to, and even bringing in the Isaiah Bradley character, and looking at that part of it, because there's so much of history that we don't know, because it's all been, who provides the textbooks are the ones that control the information from down below.
The winners.
Yeah. They're like, here you go. Here's the book depository. Maybe they were spelling it out all the way back then. Conspiracy Corner, brought to you by Captain America. It was a book suppository. Whoa.
I think it was a depository. Nobody's cramming a book up there. We'll learn by osmosis. Get out of here.
Maybe. Well, liquor absorbs quicker.
Are you doing butt funnels at home?
No.
Is there something we need to know, sir?
I'm doing those wine enemas. Getting loaded. I don't even have to pee afterwards.
One big fart takes care of everything.
Done.
Gross.
Yeah. But yeah, that's Captain America in film.
Yeah.
And everything that we know. Of course, we didn't really talk about the serial stuff, but we are going to get to that.
Yeah, we're going to do might be a show coming up just on some serials later on down the road.
Yeah.
I think in our Hulk one, we were able to pick which ones were our favorite Hulk, and obviously there's a lot of different iterations. I think it's fair to say that I'm going to speak for both of us when we say Chris Evans is definitely the better Captain America thus far.
100%.
Yeah.
And you had the right Sharon Carter. You had the right Peggy Carter. You had the right
Howard Stark.
everything was correct in that one.
Yeah.
And
So
again,
good.
they
and
did
they used a lot of the old the retcon stuff in there, which was perfect again, you know. And I don't mind when they change things, but just make it make sense and stick to the trueness of the character.
Yep. And that's what they did in that first one, because it was made in that superhero, like, dun, 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 you know, it's just like really beautiful looking film and everything.
Right.
Really color, I don't know. Just
and when
the way
he jumped, it didn't go.
Yeah. Yeah. He didn't have a sound. It's
He
$6
didn't have a
million
sound,
sound. But that was fucking badass. You know what I mean? That was literally the shit.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, so Captain America, my favorite.
Done, yeah.
My favorite superhero.
I'm a fan of Captain America, have been for a long time. So not my favorite, but definitely up there. Yeah. I think that's all I've got to say about any of those Captain America movies, though.
Yeah. I was always excited to watch them on USA.
Yeah.
Captain America's coming on. Because you'd get that little bitty, like, shitty TV guide.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you'd be like, whoa. It's coming on at 12 p.m. Central Time.
Which Captain America?
The early Reb Brown ones.
Reb Brown ones, yeah.
You could never find the canon ones.
I thoroughly enjoyed watching like the old shitty Spider-Mans from that time period, so I can totally understand why you would love the Captain America ones.
Yeah.
They really got on my fucking nerves. So.
Well, it
that
was,
shield is
yeah,
what did it, I think,
yeah.
the most. I'm like, are you kidding me? If nothing else, give him a fucking decent shield.
Even as a little kid, I was like, man, this sucks, but it's still Captain America.
Yeah, it's better than not watching Captain America.
While I'm reading Captain America books. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. So I really... I look forward to what they do with the character.
So would you say Reb Brown is your second favorite Captain America? Like live action Captain America, I should say.
Have to be.
Okay.
Have to be. Chris Evans really embodies the part. He is Steve Rogers. He looks... is not just in the looks part of it, but in the way that he plays the character.
Sure.
Is he really understood the character?
Yeah.
Reb Brown,
And he had time to develop into that, too. I mean,
Yeah.
that character was around for, 6, 8 movies, something like that?
Oh, shit.
Like
Jeez.
that he was actually in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
And, yeah, Reb Brown, he looked the part.
Yeah.
Except for with the costume on.
Yeah. Yeah.
If they would have taken the helmet off, it would have been okay.
They should have taken the helmet off. Should have made a whole different outfit. Should have got him a haircut.
Right. Something. Yeah.
And then there you go. Now you're
Yeah.
Captain America, brother.
Well, it would have been really cool to see Captain America and the Hulk fight something together, you know?
Oh, yeah.
That would have been pretty fucking cool, you know? But
Been
except
sick.
for Reb Brown's about as big as Lou Ferrigno.
Right? I just see him going to block like Hulk's punch with that plastic.
Oh, and it breaks.
Yeah.
Or it shatters like a fucking piece of shatterproof glass, you know? Like it's spiders. Ah.
Not again, Hulk.
I can't tape this anymore. Let me glue it. Fuck. Hopefully it'll fly. But yeah, that's Captain America in film from the Drop Culture Podcast Extraordinaires.
Whoa. Extraordinaires even.
Because we're the shit.
Sure.
We're badass.
I think that's most often. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
We are the shit.
Well, I look in the mirror and I see fucking excellence every day. I'm like,
go.
motherfucking excellence.
Wow. So it's the humility that they love about our show.
I know, right? and I'm such a big asshole. But that's it.
That covers it all, man.
Yeah.
And probably not going to talk to you again until after the new year. So have a Merry Christmas and a
Happy one.
Happy New Year. And yeah.
Have a happy stew year.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all about stews. Yeah, I hope everybody has a good Christmas out there and stay safe.
Yeah. And let us, give us a shout on the social medias, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You can hit us on dropculturepodcast@gmail.com or just come on over to dropculture.com.
We're there
That's right.
once a year.
We're there.
It's all automatic.
Way to sell them on it, Brock.
Yes, it's great.
You're going to talk to us live.
Yes, you'll get to see us
Eventually.
next month. All right, later, dudes.
Peace.